alarmed that not even before our young brother was funeralized, not even before our young brother was utilized, not even before we had any suspects arrested in regards to his death, that on the San Francisco Bay Review website, that they were already promoting a book with one www.blockreport.com, J.R. Valley, who many have become familiar with. But they were already promoting a book written by young Malcolm Shabazz and J.R. Valley. Thoughts and comments on why they would even do such a thing, brother?
We hearing that information, and even it was, I mean, like even in struggles with we raised about in the past about various opportunists who have attempted to co-opt or water down the history of such individuals, forces Chairman Fred and other individuals. I said, wow, I mean, it was at least some time that passed on, but again. Before the body,
yes, sir.
Before the body was even, was even gotten. We heard about this, about
yes.
This was, blatantly stated on the website. The book was out, right. And again, credit and give due credit to the community, to the people who have previously been held back or had a stranglehold on them, to not ask certain questions or contradictions because they may have felt they have not had the political vernacular, or they didn't know such words and terms. Basic decency, basic common sense, basic logic. You heard questions derived from the community. People were saying, wait a minute. You heard such questions being raised as, well, he didn't have any, Malcolm Shabazz, had struggles with resources and finance while he was alive. Why, when this book come out when he was alive? Why all of a sudden, a mere few days, right, after the reports of his death, all of a sudden, saying this is announced that this will be released. So the community, again, who have taken up this hesitancy or fear to call these contradictions. They've combated liberalism, and you've seen the community, start raising them and call these questions. And in fact, that regardless if they're familiar with such terms as socialism or COINTELPRO, basic on the ground, again, people in the lay, people are calling the question. Wait a minute, this is out of order, to say the least.
That's right, yes, sir. Clearly, that as you just said, it was out of order. And I reached out and tried to contact the, I believe she is the executive director of the San Francisco Bay Review, 70-something-year-old white woman by the name of Miss Radcliffe, who said that she thought it would be a good idea because it would give another side to Malcolm's image that the media have tried to portray him in a negative way. But she never said that she didn't think, here's a 73-year-old white woman. First, I'm trying to figure out how you can think you can speak for the Shabazz family first and foremost. You know what I mean? But then say that you took it upon yourself with J.R. Valley to decide to promote this book. And then said they taking early sales. I said, well, with the sensitivity, as you said before, can you imagine the Pope or the President of the United States or somebody being killed and you already trying to sell the book before they've even arrested a suspect? Just on that level, brother, it doesn't add up. So thoughts and comments, man, on again, as I saw even in the final call, and if I don't know that anybody else has the right to really, I think, push this issue regarding the death of our young brother, black media has a responsibility because this is the grandson of Brother Malcolm. So they should be asking those kind of questions, not just the final call, but black media in general and in particular should be asking those questions. Muslims and those who are of the conscious community could be asking that because it could be him today and one of us tomorrow if we don't ask those kind of questions. And then to see the final call ask a white woman, and with all these blacks in Chicago, with all these blacks in the conscious community, that's even in our struggle, but go to a white woman and ask her for a comment about the grandson of Malcolm X. Thoughts and comments just on that, brother?
If I can struggle to reiterate, I may be redundant because I've been saying this in a number of different interviews. This whole conversation, I was to put in its political context what we are talking about, who we are talking about, what the political components and dynamics of this conversation, and everything from the locale, with funeral services are to be held. Who are you referencing in regards to Malcolm Shabazz? Again, it is eerie in a sense when I talk about this whole thing about legacy.
Right.
Because in fact, this was one of the campaigns that we had intended to embark on
That's right.
with Malcolm Shabazz about the legacy, and a lot of people take this for granted, and that's why we have a reactionary or subjective response. We look at what's happening right now today, but again, the system it sees the attacks waves on our actual physical beings as well as the representation of our struggles. They think long range. It is so. When you talk about the resistance of such forces as Reverend Nat Turner during the era of chattel slavery, you will see first they would attempt to. They up to the colonial schools, the system in general, will attempt to obliterate him from history, or malign him as some sort of crazy madman. The last resort to say, okay, this is the white person's version, and you hear some quote unquote historians attempt to say, well, this is how he told this great white hope would happen. And a lot of people we miss this. Even looking movies, you see that how it's never a situation where African people or black people represent self-determination. There's always through some the great white hope came and saved the day, so on and so forth. And it may seem small or minor, but the whole thing about referencing the legacy of Malcolm X,
right?
This whole. I cannot stress enough, the legacy, and and you can look at other examples in other fields. I was telling somebody the other day, the state thinks you can look at a situation with the entertainment field, Michael Jackson. I said there's going to be debate, argument with the next generation. People will tell you no, that Michael Jackson was not black. They will tell you that. It's not by happenstance. Right. The three quote unquote children of Michael Jackson, who they have now, right, raising up. You see on a daily basis more of an arrogance or a cockiness. Right. About speaking about quote unquote their father. That's right. And so this is an entertainment field. So we talk about who is pointed out. The fact of who would be in regard to speak about in this present day society would sad to say many children who are not familiar, and this is sad to say, with that the history and legacy of Malcolm X. And so for their first contact, the first drink of this knowledge, of the history of Malcolm X, who it comes from, who is being quoted, is so important. And it's similar to we talk about the whole thing about Emmett Till. Yes. Some people say, well, Chairman, one artist, I think this guy named Future, who did the piece with Lil Wayne, right. His argument was at least Lil Slave brought the discussion about Emmett Till, and he's informing people. And in fact, I recall we raised the issue in regards to Slave Z, right, trying to correlate his legacy to that of Chairman Fred. A lot of people took the position, well, at least he's going to educate us, so on and so forth. Do you understand the damage of who provides this information? That's right. And the first contact of this is to give a graphic depiction. What I'm trying to say is it's a tactic that you look on the Animal Channel. Right. When they go, you see it's strategic when whether it be the gorillas or different animals. When you say why would they not let the actual animals mothers right, nurse the baby, take care of the baby. That's and right. You know what I'm saying? And they would divide them, and someone else would get a milk bottle. You know what I'm saying? And this child's this first contact of information will come through this white hand.
Yes, sir. That's right. Yes.
And so when this baby comes up with a confused, to say the least, a confused view of the world, a confused way of its life in the context of how it does it fit, how does he or she fit into the world, how who the legacy of Malcolm, how do they relate this to, so what the whole thing about COINTELPRO. A lot of people say, well, at least they know. No. Information. In fact, the party, information is raw material for new ideas. That's right. It is so important. When, where, who, and it's that was one of the significant points about the Black Panther Party, where you could see people that came identified from your community. That was one of the significant qualities of Malcolm X, who can go through, can come through the Harlem, New York, and go through the different universities, but can come in and identify with the people and speak on their terms.
Yes, sir.
On their terms. We've seen so many instances prior to that and outside of that where other organizations or other people will be mouthpieces for another entity.
Yes, sir.
For another entity. And so it's so important, again, for this, what it is, my brother, it's a continuous attack. It is a continuous attack on this valuable entity that we're fighting for. In some senses, I don't know if the LCC may come down on me for saying this word, because it's really a profane word in a lot of arenas. Yes, and that word is self-determination.
Yes, sir. He got that right. Again, family, just tuning in, having a conversation, talking about the grandson of Malcolm X, Malcolm Shabazz, with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. Again, the funeral was scheduled for tomorrow. To your knowledge, will he be buried in Oakland, or will he be brought back to New York, since we know that his grandfather, Malcolm X, and his grandmother, Betty Shabazz, are buried in New York? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Nothing would surprise me. Excuse me, brother.
That's right.
Nothing would surprise me. We keeping our heads up. You know what I'm saying?
Eyes open.
Yes, sir. Eyes open. Now through the place. You know what I'm saying? Nothing will surprise me. We know we got our heads up for all type of tactics. So, whether it be nefarious intent or naivety. Again, nefarious intent, naivety, or naivety. That's right. We know that, this system exploits. Some people may dismiss this as just a situation. Some people may dismiss this just as a regular John Doe situation, just a regular funeral. But again, as we say, and we have been saying, everything is political.
Everything is political. Talk about how Go ahead, Chairman. Talk about how I think the grassroots organizations and those using social network media have been able to come together and galvanize this information without the mainstream news media, black or white, that have really talked about what happened to our young brother.
Again, the people is similar to I remember some of the discussion around the Jenna 6 situation, and I was commenting about Louisiana. I was saying that how the people did not become stranglehold by the usual suspects who would come down and who the state would send as our spokespersons, and who would tell us what our quote unquote demands would be, and how they were going to get deals, so on and so forth. And just again, the people, it's a true credit to the community, to the people, but we must understand that it's a protracted struggle, and just to reinforce what I'm saying again, everything that we say, everything is political, because we are not a punk people.
Yes,
we are
sir.
not a punk people. We are loving, compassionate people, and one of our disadvantages, I believe, for lack of better terms, one of our disadvantages, including myself, is we cannot even fathom the length or the tactics this system has utilized, is utilized, and will utilize in order to attack us and our legacies. And we must understand everything is political. Sometimes we hear terms like assassination. We just think about the military aspects of it, the gun, the bullet.
Right.
But the whole we must look at the slander campaign. We must look at the fact of even after the individual's physical death, the fact that Chairman Fred's tombstone is still shot up annually.
Yes, sir.
Annually.
Right.
And I have struggles with certain people within my family. They wanted to dismiss it as some, happenstance.
Right.
You had a situation with Tupac where even during the era when the white nationalists were reported to be bombing the churches, there was a noose hanged around the statue of Tupac. And you had individuals saying, well, no, it has nothing to do with race, so on and so forth. We must understand, again, not just the physical life of an individual. I think it may have been Delmar Vesky, I forget who it was, who they had a whole, after one of the rebellions during chattel slavery, they chopped his body up and spread his body out, through the plantation.
Yes, sir.
And this is strategic. Right. I think it was the Mexicano, Pancho Villa. he had made a point. He said about I think about cremation, because he had heard how the Spanish had previously took some individuals and they used their skull for dog bones, for dog bones, for bones dogs to get out of.
That's right.
And so we must understand that even in the aftermath, this system is still shooting.
Yes,
They're still shooting. Right now in Menard Penitentiary, they got pictures of Chairman Fred and myself in every gun tower.
That's
If
right.
you get caught with a photograph of myself with Chairman Fred, you get 6 months added to your sentence in Illinois prison. We must understand the aftermath. So we cannot put our guards down and say, we can go in the corner and get a shot of water, but we got to keep on swinging.
That's right. Again, let's talk about, before we begin to wrap up, as we're looking at the death of young brother Malcolm,